there's just this undercurrent that, AI is just going to take over, especially the junior sort of entry level talent. I think people that really truly believe that, probably people that never wrote a line of code in their life.
Welcome to the Forward Slash podcast, where we lean into the future of IT by inviting fellow thought leaders, innovators, and problem solvers to slash through its complexity. Today, we're talking to Jason Pedone. Jason Pedone is a tech leader with 20 plus years of experience, currently serving as CTO at Aspida, where he's driving digital innovation and leading the development of a modern cloud-based platform. Previously, he was a SVP at Truist Financial, heading up the digital and consumer banking engineering division and helping steer one of the largest bank mergers ever. That was a big one. Jason earned his Bachelor of Science, Master's of Science, and MBA from Georgia Tech and holds 4 patents. I do want to hear about that.
Yeah.
He is driven by a passion for building competitive advantage through high-performing teams, cultivating a culture that celebrates curiosity, and setting a bold, clearly articulated technology vision. He's often heard boasting that English was my second language, Java was my first. Man, I am really jealous I didn't come up with that line. I like that one. That's a good one.
Yeah, people are probably tired of hearing it, but
I like it. All right, I got to hear about the patents. That's what kind of patents do you hold?
So there are several software patents. A lot of them, they were all with Truist. A lot of them are essentially unique algorithms around how to process data, how to send and process events for certain financial transactions. At BB&T and Truist, there was a real push on innovation and trying to involve everyone at all levels to write down ideas and propose them as intellectual property ideas with our legal team. Our legal team was great, did a really good job of walking you through the process. So I would say all of them actually are in production, which I'm quite proud of. I think my first one, which actually was not customer facing, I don't believe is in production anymore. And that was a algorithm that I envisioned and actually had the chance to implement the code behind it, which was we all have in the past, I think it's changed now with Office 365, but a decade or two ago when licenses were not necessarily subscription based, right? Mm-hmm. We often had expensive software licenses sitting on our desktop, right? That a lot of times we say we need it, but then we actually don't use it. So this was a process to really harvest unused or underutilized software licenses so that if someone actually did need it, you weren't spending thousands of dollars unnecessarily. So it was a process to monitor usage, report on that usage, and then automatically harvest those licenses back.
So it's something like garbage cleaning for software licenses.
Yeah,
for us Java people.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of garbage collection happening there. Yeah. And was saved quite a bit of money for the company. So I was pretty proud of that one. But yeah, a lot of software patents. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, I got ahead of myself. I wanted to hear about the patents. I did not say welcome to the podcast.
Oh, happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you. I always, when I hear about patents, I always want to hear cool things. That's really neat that you came up with something novel enough that could be patented. And it's kind of weird in the software business, right?
It is, yeah.
Especially for us lowly software engineers. Like, you're not lowly anymore, but at the time you were, right? So that's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, again, thanks for joining us here on the Forward Slash. We had an exchange. This is one of the thing that kind of sparked the conversation a little bit here today
Mhm.
on LinkedIn. We
Yeah,
were talking about. I think you commented on one of our company posts or something about like, well, if you get rid of all the junior developers, how where are you going to have your next round of seniors? And that's a
yeah,
big topic right now. And I think
yeah,
it's kind of timely, and that is it's something we have to wrestle with as an industry. With AI is going to replace all of. We don't need junior engineers anymore. So let's get into that. Let's unpack that a little bit.
yeah. So I think there's just this ongoing theme you hear, whether it be through your professional networks on LinkedIn or you hear it in the media. The essentially the fall of the entry level or junior software engineer. Um, and I personally, I feel fairly passionate that, um, you know, that is an unwise path if you are a tech leader, to think that um, any technology, whether it be AI or something we haven't envisioned, is going to replace entry level talent. Um, I just don't see it as a very sustainable long term path. And state the obvious is, if you just cut off your pipeline of early talent, just think about what your organization is going to look like 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road, and who's going to sustain your company, who's going to um, be there to support and continue to grow your products and your company, right? So if you have no junior engineers, you're not going to have any senior engineers in the future, and you're not going to have any senior technical talent, period. Um,
Yeah.
so, I mean, that's the obvious to me, but I do think there's just this undercurrent that AI is just going to take over, especially these the junior sort of entry level talent. I I think people that really truly believe that, James, are probably people that never wrote a line of code in their life.
Well, and unfortunately, that the folks like that are in the decision making process for making
Yeah,
these decisions and laying off these droves of people
yeah,
and all of that, and that's an unfortunate thing for sure.
yeah. I do think though, if you like, there's been some uh, very popular headlines, right? Microsoft laying off, 9, 10% of their staff. And I feel like the media is being a little lazy by saying, "Oh, it's because of AI."
Yeah.
And I think they're not really doing enough research on some of these things. I think if you unpack like where the layoffs happening, it's not necessarily all software engineers.
Hmm.
And if it is software engineers, let's be honest, a lot of what these large tech companies are doing is they're just shifting that capacity to lower cost geographies, right? So
Hmm.
you look at Microsoft, and yeah, maybe they're cutting some talent here in the U.S., but at the same time, they're growing, offshore in India and other geographies where the talent is plentiful and less expensive, right? So it's just an economic reality sometimes. Um, I also I see a lot of, we talked about this one on one, but I see a lot of these posts on LinkedIn from early founders too,
Mm.
right? And they infuriate the crap out of me, if I'm just completely honest, where they say, "Oh, I built my startup myself. I have no computer science degree, no coding experience, and I built this startup from the ground up using AI, right? I
Okay.
vibe coded the crap out of my business, and I have, now I have a viable product that's growing like crazy, and I don't need any engineers. Um, yeah, I do think that AI and vibe coding, maybe it does give you the opportunity to get an idea off the ground. I do think that's a viable path.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it it can really be effective at bootstrapping a company and getting an idea to a point where it can be visible and a viable product. But maybe you have 1,000 users, right? What is it going to
Mm-hmm.
look like when you have 10,000, 100,000, a million? Is that AI generated platform and code going to scale? I'm fairly certain the answer is no. And
Right.
then when it breaks down, who's going to fix it?
Yeah.
Who's going to optimize it, right?
Yeah. You don't know anything about this. So
Yeah.
what are you going to reach for? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's been, we've had a few guests on, we've talked about this in the past about, you kind of still need that engineering mindset person, somebody who is, trained in this
Yeah.
stuff to help, kind of guide the path a little bit, even, that human in the loop aspect.
Yeah.
Um, and one guy suggested that there's probably going to be a business model of, and there already kind of is. It's just a little different. It's just a different take on it. But like a business model for all these companies that were vibe coded into existence for
Yeah.
going in and fixing and building that up. I think we kind of have that now with startups.
Yeah.
A lot of startups will be like, hey, a few friends will get together, they'll build something, and it'll be okay.
Yeah.
But then when they start getting real money, seed money, and all that sort of stuff, those different rounds of funding, they need to really build a viable, as you're saying, getting up to the 10,000, 100,000
Yeah.
million active users. That's when it starts to
Absolutely.
fall on its face.
Yeah. And I think just getting back to my original point, like I believe the people that truly believe um, that AI can replace the entry level software engineer that hasn't coded a single line of code in their life. They're missing really the value add that a software engineer brings, which
Mm-hmm.
is, to me, it's problem solving, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's understanding a problem and then developing a solution, end to end, that's efficiently, effectively solves a problem and can scale and is secure. Um, so these are the things that I think, to your point about engineering mindset, these are the things that people miss about what the human software engineer brings to the table.
Right.
And I will also say probably the most important part of software engineering and just an engineer overall is creativity.
Mm-hmm.
AI has yet to bring creativity to the table. When I mean creativity, I mean native, natural creativity, creative thought. It's not there yet. Will it ever be there? Maybe,
Mm.
but in current state, no. I mean, we've even played with. I don't know if you've used like Figma Mock, which is an AI
Yeah.
based, prototyping tool. It actually, I mean, I'm impressed by it. I'll be honest. I've been impressed by it. I can see why Figma just, skyrocketed an IPO. It's an impressive,
Oh yeah.
it's an impressive technology. But you still, as a designer or the product manager, still need to tell it what to do, right? So you
Right.
still need to represent your creative energy and creative ideas through prompts to Figma Mock to generate, what you're looking for. So, uh, yeah, I do think human in the loop is still important there.
Yeah, I think a lot of these, we take these technological advances a little, too far always.
Yeah,
I don't know why our industry is like, we just seem like we're like, take one thing and it always goes to the extreme.
yeah,
My favorite example is microservices, right? I mean,
yeah,
we were like, okay, microservices, they need to be small. And then everybody was like, I wrote a microservice in 17 characters. Like
yeah,
that's not the point, right? Like that's
yeah,
not what it really was meant to be. We just go crazy with it.
yeah,
We're doing it again.
Yeah.
I think that you're right. It's the creativity, it's the human in the loop. But there is an aspect I think to this, like it's good to maybe eliminate some of the tedium, right? So if
Yeah.
there is, like, because the creative part of what a designer does in Figma isn't necessarily correctly lining up the pixel perfect
Yeah.
CSS.
Yeah.
That's I mean, they're skilled at that, and they have to be to
Yeah.
bring their vision to life. But
Yeah.
if you could just have a computer do that aspect, they
Yeah.
might be able to move faster. It's the same thing with software, right? If there's
Yeah.
tedium, oh, let's refactor this. I don't want to go through
Yeah.
all the hassle. So I think there's a benefit, obviously,
Well,
but yeah.
well, to your point, I do think it's not all rainbows and unicorns when it comes to AI's impact on the workforce.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I do think, and when I say the workforce, I mean in the technology realm, I do think where you could have impact on hiring or demand is probably more on the QA side.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you think about what QA engineers do. Um, a lot of their tasks are just, repeat, rinse and repeat,
Mm-hmm.
very procedural, follow steps, follow a test case from step 1 to step 10. I have seen myself and my team a really positive results in AI's ability to one, automate testing of features or entire platforms. I mean, you could do regression in an incredible amount of time. Um, and then two, it's really good at generating test data, right?
Yeah.
Uh, which I mean, heck, at Truist, we had like dozens of people. That's all they did was generate test data, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you know, Aspida, we're a lot smaller. We don't necessarily have that amount of horsepower, but we did have people that were spending cycles doing that. So I do think there could be some impact to that QA practice where maybe you don't see as many QA engineers in the future. Um, and sometimes that QA engineer is the entry level for some people into a software engineering realm. So
Yep.
I do see some impact there. And then to your point about, um, just tedious tasks, right? I do see, if you think about uh, what a software engineer is really good at and not good at. You and I were both software engineers for many years. I was horrible at testing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as a software engineer, it doesn't matter how good or bad you are. Your perspective is, I write no defects. My
Of
code is
course.
perfect,
Of course
right?
not.
I don't need to test it, or if I do test it, are you really doing a great job? No.
Mm-mm.
Unit testing was just one of those things there. Yeah, I'll just put it in there so it passes code review, or when I pass it off to QA, I could say, yeah, I unit tested it, sure.
Mm-hmm.
AI can really help um, take those tedious tasks off the software engineer's plate,
Mm-hmm.
give them the time back to be more productive, and also raise the quality of those tedious tasks that software engineers are bad at: documentation,
Oh yeah.
unit testing, all that good stuff. So it has a positive impact to productivity, I think, as well. Um, but I still don't think it impacts the demand for junior talent. Um, One other thing about junior talent, James, while I'm thinking about it, is your junior talent, and I've seen this, in the new college grads we've hired some wonderful um, new grads out of some local schools here. We're based in Raleigh, the Raleigh-Durham area. We've
Mm-hmm.
we've hired some new talent at UNC Chapel Hill and NC State. They are incredibly uh, in tune and incredibly effective in using AI.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Absolutely.
probably more effective at using AI than your senior developers, right? They grew up with this technology. They know
Right.
how to effectively use it. They're probably bringing most of the ideas to the table. And I think that is something that you're going to miss out on if you're saying, I'm just going to not hire junior talent.
Easy now. I don't want them to think they don't need us old people either. You know what I mean? Like, hold on now. Let's not say that. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean it's true, and they bring fresh perspectives. Like
yeah,
it's a diversity of thought. All of those things. I mean that's why we need the junior talent, because that's, let's face it, when we get a little bit of gray in our beard, we kind of get stuck in our ways, and
yeah,
some of that new fresh ideas come in and into the mix, and it helps keep things moving and
yeah,
innovating. I think that's, we still need that, and there's that aspect of it too. It's not just down to dollars and cents. It can't be.
yeah. And just also to pull on that thread a little bit, right? If you're in a product engineering org and
Mm-hmm.
you're building or engineering products, um, they're going to be more in tune with the
Mm-hmm.
next set of customers or users that are going to be using your product, right?
Mm-hmm.
Am I going to understand how a 21-year-old truly is going to interact with my system? Maybe, but I'm not going to understand it as well as someone that is coming from that generation, right?
Right.
To your point about ideas and energy, they're going to bring that to the table. Us graybeards, we're going to try. We
Yeah,
not might
sure.
not be as successful, but we're going to try.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, our lives are different. I mean, like you were saying, they were brought up on a lot of this technology, and so their perspective is different. So building products for people,
yeah,
someone who has that empathy and knows that, that how their daily lives are,
yeah,
because they're different than
yeah,
how we might do it. Because we try to do some of the things they do, and it just hurts.
yeah,
I'm 50. It hurts when I do things.
yeah. Um, One thing I know that there's been a recent headline, James, I'd like to bring up that has reinforced, I believe, our position.
Mm-hmm.
So recently, yesterday, um, this is yesterday being August 21st, 2025, just for the record. Um, AWS, their CEO, Matt Garman, and I'm going to quote him, was quoted in an interview saying that using AI to replace junior staff is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Which you can't get any clearer than that, right?
Yeah, he's not mincing any words. That's
In fact, he added, they're cheap and they grew up with AI, so you're firing them. Why? That was his quote. Um, I think that does a really good job, I think, of summing up my position and yours. From
yeah.
what I can to tell, is that these are this is a valuable asset.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Personally, if my competition thinks they're going to replace junior engineers with AI, I encourage them to go down that path. But I'm not going down that path.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. We'll hire them up, right? I mean, we
Yeah,
need that next generation, especially the ones that are they're born in this world and they
yeah.
live in it for sure.
So I just love that quote because it does not mince words, right? He's very clear on his position and AWS's position. Obviously, AWS carries a lot of weight in the tech world. Um,
Yeah, they're kind of a big thing.
yeah,
I
a
feel
little
like
bit.
they've had an impact on some things here and there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. I guess we're in good company then
Yeah,
with our opinion. That's a good thing.
yeah,
So thanks, Mr. Garman, for charging forth with sanity in this current times, because I feel like I still think it's going to happen. The pendulum swing is going to happen, right? I
yeah,
don't think there's enough of us,
yeah,
shouting the warning signs out there. And
yeah,
it's the money thing. It's going to
yeah.
happen. Yeah, but it'll
Well,
come
to your
back.
point about the pendulum, right? This has happened in past like large evolutions in the
Hmm.
tech world, right? We talk about
Sure.
cloud, right? The cloud revolution, right? Everyone got to get to cloud, got to get cloud. So companies without thinking moved all their workloads to cloud. Then they got their first bill and they were like, wait, what? like, oh, so I have to have cloud native apps for this to actually work well for me.
Right.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll just move some of those workloads back, right? Because,
Hmm.
just spinning up a bunch of taking, Windows servers here and then moving Windows servers there doesn't necessarily save me much money. And, oh, you mean I need to still administer them? Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Like, doesn't make
exactly.
sense unless you're cloud native. So, yeah, like very similar there, right? So, like, cloud went gangbusters and then it's come back a little bit, right? Um, if you're cloud native, great, right? Totally makes sense, but not many large organizations have all 100% cloud native apps, right? That's just reality. So,
Yeah, I do. The one thing I do worry about is I believe that the pendulum will swing. I don't know that we can stop the momentum, but I'm worried about when the correction comes, and it will, that it will come back to a more sane, reasonable kind of middle ground. I do worry about, I've got kids that my daughter is a senior in high school. And if she's, not that she wants to go into computer software engineering or anything like that, but like them hearing about this and, the doom and gloom of like, oh, software engineering is dead. Will we not have people going through even university? Never mind the fact they're not going into companies. Like we won't have them going through
yeah,
university and learning this stuff. So
yeah,
when the pendulum swings back, we got nobody there. There's nobody
yeah,
to bring back in. I worry about that.
yeah. That's a great point. That really is. I don't know. I hope that doesn't happen, but I do think it's possible,
Oh yeah,
right? I
absolutely.
do think, you know, for better or worse, I do think this phenomenon has had an impact on hiring demand, right? I
Hmm.
see it today. I mean, I posted a few engineering positions I've had, I had earlier this year, and I mean, I got flooded. I got like 3,000 LinkedIn messages. I mean, I'm not even kidding. And I think we've had like thousands of applications to each position.
Hmm.
So clearly there is demand is struggling a little bit, especially on junior talent. We could talk all day about how this is a bad idea, but the market's doing what the market's doing, um, and it could have an impact on, you know, to your point, like this young, bright talent in high school saying, "Why am I going to go to college?" Right?
Right.
Um, so it's having some pretty monumental shifts or potential shifts. I don't know how this story ends, but
Hmm.
I'll be watching it.
Yeah, I think and it's, and we have had a lot of shifts, as you said, in technology, and we always kind of, we work our way through it, go through the pendulum swings, all that. This one's it is a little different. I think I feel like this is a little more substantial than some of the other ones. I mean, there's, who are we fooling ourselves? There's industrial revolution and all that. The humanity has gone through these things before, right? I think it's big, but it's not on the scale of like
Yeah.
the industrial revolution or the invention of
Hmm.
fire. Kind of like really significant things that have happened. Um, so I think we'll be fine. We'll get through it, but I do worry about like. And maybe this phenomenon has happened before, but like the idea of, as we, our kids right now are, mine especially, we're all born with an iPad in their hand, and they're very used to things being given to them. I
Uh-huh.
think AI takes this to a whole new level, because like when I try to help my kids with their homework, I'm like, okay, so I'm trying to make sure they learn the concepts and do some Socratic method, asking them why, and they get frustrated with me. They're like, what is that? What? Just tell me the answer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And AI will do that readily. It'll just, okay,
Yeah.
here, this is the answer. It'll do that for them. So I worry about that. You mentioned earlier, like the problem solving, critical thinking. Are we gonna, I'm thinking of the movie Idiocracy. Are we going to dumb ourselves down through technology over time and just get to this point where we
Yeah.
can't think critically anymore? I don't know. What do you think about that impact on just training up software engineers?
Yeah. I do worry about that too. I worried also just about I don't know how, just in computer science programs today, are they getting into some of the details on decomposing how some of this stuff works, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I had to learn machine code, right? I had to
Mm-hmm.
learn. I did a lot of C development, right? I had to learn about memory allocation and deallocation and reallocation and data structures and pointers and all these things that, you know, are those still being taught? I don't know. Maybe they are. I hope they are. It's that mantra of even if you're like a mechanical engineer, right, and you're building engines, sometimes the best way to, you know, envision the next engine is you take apart the one that's in front of you and
Mm-hmm.
understand how all these pieces and parts work, right? Which is kind of what I'm trying to describe. How I learned in my computer science program is like, we learned at the lowest level and then built our way up, right?
Right. Right.
To where
Exactly.
we're, you know, engineering in abstracted languages like Java, where I don't have to worry about memory and some of the under like low level data structures, right? The virtual machines doing it all for me.
That's right.
Um, so yeah, I do worry about some of that. But to your point, yes, I do worry about is our education system like supporting critical thinking.
Mm-hmm.
They and that goes beyond a computer science education, right? It's like, how do I craft an argument, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, how do I effectively communicate? Uh, am I able to talk to someone, look them in the eye, and talk to someone and ask questions, right? Am I able to be curious on my own, right? Um, do I understand why things are the way they are? These are all like important critical thinking skills that I hope we don't lose, right? I hope AI doesn't make our brains lazy.
Mm-hmm.
There's also to that point there was this MIT study that has been done. Are you familiar with this? It was done maybe last month.
I don't know if I saw
Um,
this yet.
so this study they did a creative writing study.
Mm-hmm.
So they measured brain waves before and after a creative writing exercise. And they put people in three different categories. Category one is just someone that did it completely on their own, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just used their brain. Second one was someone that used a Google search to inspire them. And the third was someone that was given ChatGPT as a tool.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and again, they measured brain waves before and after. And the group that used the Chat GPT, not surprisingly, had a substantial decrease in brain activity after the exercise, right? So essentially, I guess to summarize, they got dumber. And the ones that utilize a Google search um, to inspire them a little bit with some ideas,
Sure.
they obviously had a drop in brain activity, but not as substantial as the one with ChatGPT. And then the ones that used just their mind and didn't use any tools had an increase in brain activity, right? There's certainly like a cognitive
Mm-hmm.
cost of using large language models and ChatGPT and AI, um, you know, in a creative task, right? So um, it's a really interesting study. It's if you search for your brain on ChatGPT, it was a study done by MIT Media
Okay.
Lab.
I'm looking
Read
at
it;
that.
it's a little concerning. It's just one study, but it's MIT Media Lab. They're it's fairly it's a very well thought out
Mm-hmm.
disciplined
Mm-hmm.
study. Um,
They're kind of a
but
big deal. MIT.
kind
I've
of
heard of them.
again,
Yeah.
yeah, kind
Again,
of a
they're up there.
heavyweight.
They're up there. Yeah.
But I do worry about that as well, and I don't. I'm hoping our education system is, I don't think they could ignore AI. I don't think we could ignore AI. It is a tool, and I think that's how we should view it. It's a tool. It should never be a
Absolutely.
replacement.
Right.
It's a tool to make you more productive. It could be a tool that could even help you be more creative, right? Um, like I gave the Figma mock example, right? I have an idea, and it's going to take me a really long time to visualize that idea. Well, I could interact with this tool that is AI based to bring my idea to life, and then I take that mock and I go to the stakeholders and I say, this is my idea, I want to do this, and they're like, oh wow, that looks great, here's money, go do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
That, it to me, is the ideal way to utilize this technology. um, the idiocracy thing, I know you mentioned that. Oh my God. I feel like every time I read the headlines, I'm like, oh my gosh, we are totally headed towards idiocracy.
It keeps coming
Uh,
up. I can't. That's the only analogy I can come up with. And because the movie
uh,
was so vivid, wasn't it? I mean,
yeah,
it
it
did. It,
really is.
yeah.
I, I, every time I walk into Costco, I'm just waiting for someone to look at me and say, "Welcome to Costco. I love you." Um,
Yeah.
and I'm also just waiting for the day for Costco to offer the law degree as well,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. I went to law
Um,
school here. Yeah.
it is. That movie was so ahead of its time. It's kind of scary. Mike Judge is a genius. So yeah,
It's
little
it's funny that we get that kind of like I mean, it's really a it's a film, I guess. I mean,
yeah,
you know, it's silly. It's got some really dumb things in it too, but like the concept that's in there, it's pretty profound and comes from
yeah,
the guy that gave us Beavis and Butthead. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
that's
yeah.
quite the mix there. Yeah.
Honestly, I think regardless of your political persuasion, if you look at the way our Congress acts today, on both sides of the aisle, by
Yeah.
the way,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's not much different than what's represented in idiocracy.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I hope our government leaders just act a bit more um, refined
Yes.
and show some statesmanship in the future. But right now, it's very on point. But and if you haven't watched Idiocracy,
Oh,
I, you're missing it.
yeah.
You gotta watch it. It's streaming all over the place.
It's
But
crass, but
it's crass. Yeah,
the concept is yeah, yeah. Don't watch it
don't
with your
watch with your
kids.
children. It's
No,
not
no.
children friendly.
Well, it's funny, you know, the like we Congress. They're representatives of ours. They represent us, and
Mhm.
maybe we should do a little self reflection. Are they accurately representing us? Because if they are,
Yeah,
that's an us problem too.
yeah.
Maybe we need to clean up our act a little bit too.
Well, that's certainly true, right?
Yeah.
There's, you look at any social media platform, and
Oh my goodness.
we're not terribly nice or civil to each other,
No, we
unfortunately.
are not for sure. All right, so we're all doom and gloom. I did want to talk about because you guys, Aspida, it's kind of a cool company. I loved hearing about it. You guys are in an industry. You're in the insurance industry,
Yeah,
which isn't really known to be forward thinking. I mean, there are some later players like you guys, but it's kind of an old industry, and it's been around a long time, and you know it's a highly regulated industry, and you guys are coming in. You're born digital.
yeah,
You're not having to bring legacy systems forward. You don't have AS400 sitting around that you have to
right.
modernize and anything. So how is that experience? You know, kind of being born digital in an industry that's been around so long that and all the regulations are not designed for you. You're like this little flower, beautiful
Yeah,
flower in the middle of kind of a I don't know the way I was explaining it the other day, this like dying field or whatever. But how is that experience for you guys?
yeah. It's a really unique position we're in. I mean, to your point, we're in like a super boring industry.
Mm-hmm.
Insurance is not terribly thought of as innovative or interesting. We're also in a space, the annuity space specifically, which is even
Mm.
less interesting, right? It's really um, it's hard to think of annuity and innovation in the same like sentence, right? Um, but yeah, we've really built something very unique in the industry, and I would say there's a lot of companies out there trying to copy us, which is always, as they say, is the greatest form of flattery.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, but yeah, the thesis is, we built everything from the ground up without you know, any legacy debt holding us back, and we've grown, um, very, very rapidly, and it's our ability to offer an experience to all the parties in an annuity transaction that is, easy, simple, fast, right?
Hmm.
Um, and fast is really the key in this business, right? Because we can issue an annuity policy faster than anyone, right? I think our record is 8 seconds, right?
Nice.
Um, from when an application was submitted to when it was issued. Um, so, we've really kind of disrupted the annuity industry, and we're very proud of that. But I would say this is just the start. Even we're continuously looking for ways where we innovate, um, and AI is one of those things. To be quite honest,
Sure.
one of the obviously the one of the foundational things you need to be AI ready is you need access, readily accessible and understandable data, right?
Hmm.
Um, and you need to minimize data silos, right? Uh, and I'm not here to say we're perfect, but I will say we are probably more AI ready than anyone in our industry,
Sure.
because we don't have legacy data sets. Everything is on a modern data platform. We're able to uh, truly understand our data. We were always able to build things with modern, you know, data formats. We're not dealing in mainframe delimited, comma or position delimited files. We're not dealing with multiple batch jobs and data transmissions, right? We have some of that because the industry forces us to do those things,
Sure.
but
Hmm.
for the most part, um, we've been able to take advantage of AI, and our focus is really now more inward facing, and some of that, to your point, is regulations, right?
Hmm.
So um, it's a little dicey right now to utilize AI for a customer facing experience, especially insurance, because if you give the wrong answer on something,
Hmm.
it's not only detrimental for your customer, but detrimental for uh, the the company as well. So uh, we're being very intentional how we're using it, and if we can use it in the back office to be more effective and efficient, that's kind of where we're kind of utilizing the technology beyond just the engineering productivity side of things, right? So,
Hmm.
um,
Absolutely.
seeing great results, as I mentioned about for QA automation, data, test data creation, huge, huge. Even we had someone, an engineer, an entry level engineer, mind you,
Hmm.
um, generate using an LLM to point to a Jira story and say, tell me about, give me context on this story, right? And it brings in all the related tickets, and it could look at a related epic and summarize it. So if I'm a junior engineer and I was just assigned this ticket and I have no idea what it's about, it can summarize everything for an engineer, right? Kind of put it in a TLDR format and
Hmm.
say, okay, so I don't, instead of wasting an hour or 2 hours of time reading through tickets and maybe even bothering this PM or this PO, I can have, I can have a LLM summarize this for me, and I can, you know, spend less time. digging into Jira hell. Um, so
Yeah.
we're seeing good use of of AI kind of inward facing.
Now, how has your experience been with, as you mentioned, the regulatory aspect of your industry? Are there times where, you come up against a regulation and you're like, this just isn't our world. This doesn't apply to us because we are born digital. We're different, right?
Yeah.
This isn't our experience. This isn't how we do business, and it just doesn't apply. And how do you navigate that if it does happen? I don't know. Does it happen? Number one, and how do you navigate that?
Yeah. In our business, I will say it's what's interesting is our business is highly intermediated, right? And what I mean is um, annuities and insurance in general. A lot of times, it's sold, through a human intermediary, right? Like a
Mm-hmm.
agent or a wealth advisor, or someone that's part of some insurance agency or large distribution firm.
Okay.
Um, so where we're kind of exploring is like, well, there is a human in the loop, right? And there acts kind of as a fiduciary in a lot of times in the value chain. And you know, speaking of like regulations, right? If I'm arming them with tools, but they're still the fiduciary, uh, that might be a place where, well, a regulation doesn't necessarily apply in all those situations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you still have the human in the loop.
Right. Yep.
Um, so I think that's kind of where we're seeing like the next frontier for us is like, okay, so yes, there are all these regulations out there, and they exist for a good reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but they don't necessarily always apply in those type of scenarios, right? Because there's still a human that's ultimately making a decision or advising the client or the customer. But what if I gave them tools to um, give them better information,
Mm-hmm.
right? What if I gave them tools that could um, make it easier for them um, to explain what a product is and is not, right? So I do think it could actually help, um, where like regulations are there to protect the customer.
Mm-hmm.
It could actually, these AI can be used to help actually protect the customer, if you see where I'm going, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it could help dispel myths, help the customer understand these products a bit better and how they could benefit or not benefit them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Might not be for everyone. Um,
Hmm.
so
I like
that's
that.
kind of how we're looking at things, and you know, I do see. Um, I I don't know yet where AI can help with the customer directly, and I don't necessarily know if we're going to see that anytime soon um, in our industry. And that is because it's a highly intermediated industry where the human's still in the loop, um, helping sell these products.
Yeah, I do think AI, Google and all those things are great for like, the consumer can
Yeah,
educate themselves. Even with Google, they were
yeah,
able to go out and look for reviews or find people talking about a product, for instance, or whatever. But I think AI might take that, like puts that process on steroids, where you can like explain to me why this is important, and it can kind of coach and teach you. So I think
yeah,
it's going to be an interesting aspect. We'll even have more savvy consumers going forward because they'll be able to really
yeah,
dig through some of this, like you said, like myths and those sort of
yeah,
things. So that's cool.
yeah. I do think what will be interesting, James, is like I think about that next generation, right?
Mm.
We talked about how they grew up in the AI world, right? Um, it just like digital experience, right? So probably our generation and younger, we don't want to talk to someone on the phone, really, right? We don't necessarily want to talk to a salesman. In fact, personally, that's the last thing I want to do.
Yeah.
Right? I know what I want. I want a digital experience to go get it.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
We as a generation have demanded that experience, right? So if you're a company that doesn't have that experience, I'm not doing business with you,
Right.
right? A lot of times people are making that decision. By the way, that's why we at Aspida also feel very strongly about this, because the next generation of that's buying annuities is our generation, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're the next set of customers that are going to be buying these products. I've already started buying these products, by the way, right? And if I can't buy this, through a digital process, then maybe I don't do business with that company, right? We're seeing some of that, by the way.
Absolutely.
But I do think about AI, right? So like we have this generation that's growing up in AI. They might they might demand, right, that AI is in the loop of the next annuity sales process, right? Maybe in the there we could have a future where all their financial advice isn't coming from a human advisor, a human agent. It could be an AI agent, right?
So they'll push
So
for the objectivity of an AI rather than maybe a, I'm trying to say this in a politically correct way, but maybe a, I don't know, there's no way to say it nice. Slimy salesperson, just out to
yeah,
make a buck for themselves. Then AI may be more objective and more
yeah,
sanitized, so to speak. That's an interesting thought.
or
Yeah.
maybe it's a maybe it is a combination of it, right? Maybe there's
Mm-hmm.
a human, and this human is the head of a firm, and they have 40 AI, insurance agents that are selling these products directly. I don't know. I don't, this is like, I'm just, I could see that happening,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Oh yeah.
Um, and
Huh.
that would upend the industry, right? Who gets commission? Am I going to pay an AI agent a commission? I don't know. Um, but I do see, we did publish a paper. If you go to aspida.com, we have a white paper, like essentially some trends that we feel like could reshape the insurance industry, right? So obviously, digitization of this industry is going to continue.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to continue, by the way, because the insurance industry has been way behind, right?
Sure.
Um, Same with certain things in the insurance industry, which you and I probably took for granted, like self-service. That's we're behind on there, but also AI will certainly have impact, right? I think of like that, like I said, that AI assistant for the insurance agent or producer, right? Certainly something that could uh, reshape the whole experience, right? The next generations of buyers of these products are going to reshape what that experience looks like. So I also think, unrelated to AI, I know it's a hot topic, James, but I still also think blockchain technology
Mm-hmm.
is, if I think about what insurance is, it's a contract,
Yeah.
right? It's a contract that you've bought some guarantee. Could be life insurance, could be a annuity policy that guarantees a payout. That is like completely aligned with a smart contract, right?
Right.
So um, we're pretty far off from that, but I do think um, what do we call it? The Genius Act, I think. I
Yes,
don't
that's
know.
what it was called, the Genius Act with
Um,
the, yep, with stable coins. And, yep.
yeah,
Yep.
but I do think some of the impact of that could be it has legitimized, it will legitimize over time uh, the acceptance and increase the acceptance of blockchain technology through to industries which probably haven't even thought of as possible,
Right.
right? So it might, I don't know if it has yet, but it might have reduced the regulatory barrier from adopting some of these technologies, which I do think could have a mutual benefit across an industry like insurance, right? Um, so, you mentioned the old stodgy mainframes, right, that some
Mm-hmm.
companies are dealing with. I do think the industry needs to start thinking about life beyond, right, those old stodgy mainframes, right? What's that next generation of policy administration going to look like? I think blockchain smart
Sure.
contracts could be a huge part of that. That's just
Yeah.
kind of,
I
yeah,
think there are a lot of applications of blockchain technology. They're not as many as when we went through the craze, right? Like
yeah,
that was a little nuts, right? Everything needed to be blockchain. It felt like you remember the Simpsons episode where the guy went, "You need a monorail." You know what I mean? It felt like that. Like
yeah,
everybody's just trying to sell
yeah,
you a monorail. It felt very much like that. I do. There's
yeah,
absolutely applications where I think it makes sense, but it's not as widespread as what they were
yeah,
saying back
absolutely.
then. Thank goodness. It was a little crazy. Um, yeah, I'm really excited about the stablecoin thing. Definitely, I think that's gonna shake some things up for sure.
Yeah,
All right, you mentioned your blog post now, and I apologize, I have not read that yet, or I meant to read that, and I wanted to ask you a couple questions about it, but it is
yeah,
on your all's website, as you said.
yep,
I'm going to go check it out. Well, we are now going into our next phase of the show, the next section of the show. This is called our Ship It or Skip It.
Ship or skip. Everybody, we gotta tell us if you ship or skip.
So and we've been kind of posing this question to everyone, and I get to answer it the same way every time. But like the notion of vibe coding, and I guess kind of the way I was describing vibe coding, my understanding is like just letting the computer write the code, and you just kind of YOLO it to prod, and like what so. That was my definition. I think there's actually a better definition. I actually looked it up, but what about that? Like that kind of,
yeah.
I don't want to lead the witness, but it's kind of like a reckless. It feels
Yeah,
like it's reckless.
it's Leroy Jenkins right there. I'm skipping that. I like YOLO to prod too, but I'm using the Leroy Jenkins reference.
I love it. I love that.
Yeah, you know how that ends. If you know about Leroy Jenkins, you
Yeah,
know how that ends. It
yeah.
doesn't end well, so I'm skipping that.
And it wasn't just that it didn't end well for Leroy. The whole team suffered. You know
The
what I mean?
whole
Like
team
he brought
suffered. Yes,
everyone down. So
exactly.
it's not. We'll have to. Maybe someday that'll be like. This is a lesson, an allegory, the allegory of Leroy Jenkins. You know what I mean? Like they'll talk about poor Leroy and his team, and how
Yeah,
the
yeah.
demise of Leroy Jenkins. Such a okay. So if you uninitiated, if people who don't know Leroy Jenkins, just Google it and watch the video. Even if you're
Yeah.
not into video gaming, it's a video
Stick
game related thing, but it's hilarious.
stick with the video too, because if you see the full video, you got to like watch the whole thing. Just
Yeah,
all there's a lot of prep involved, and then it happens, and you're like, oh,
I like that. That's my new definition. I thought it was. Let's see if I can pull up the actual definition of. Oh yeah, here we go. I did a Chat GPT. Informal internet slang term that describes writing or generating code in a way that's guided more by intuition, aesthetics, or vibes rather than like strict logic, best practices, or formal planning. So I think it's fairly consistent, but it's like that definition takes on like that 70s kind of or 60s hippie feel. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
it takes on that. I don't know. Oh, whatever.
Vibes. That just sounds like a future Sev One call right there. Like that's a priority one incident call with 30 people on it. That's the vibe I'm getting from that.
You could just answer the customer, hey man, just chill out, man. Your vibes just aren't consistent with ours. So like it's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure they'll be happy with that.
yeah.
And you'll keep that customer for a long time. Um what about using we kind of touched on a little bit, but like using AI as like a teaching tool. What do you think about that? Like how, if we, instead of, I was thinking about this in the context of like mentoring our junior engineers. You mentioned like they can go out and get more information on their own, which is good because that's one of the things they tend to
Hmm.
ask questions too quickly, too
Yeah.
soon, right? They don't do enough homework on their own. What do you think about that? As like now that they have AI available to them, they are going to do some of their homework. What do you think? It's a good thing, bad thing? What do you think?
Uh, I'm going to ship that,
Okay.
and I think it can be good. I just think with anything, you have to be skeptical. Like, just think on your own, right?
Mm.
Um, is it any worse than a search engine? Probably not. It's just probably a little bit more effective than a search engine. So, um, yeah, I think it could be a good way to learn. Um, maybe I think it really you have to be careful about what your prompt is, right?
Yes.
But yeah,
As always with AI, you gotta garbage in, garbage out. I'm with you. I think I'm gonna ship it. I think it for me. It's been helpful. Like if I want to learn a new topic about something, I do find it helpful.
yeah.
Um, I love the voice mode of ChatGPT. I sit there and talk to. I think it's.
Well,
I forget her name, but Soul. Soul is the voice I use. I'll sit there and talk to her in my truck while I'm driving, and just teach me about quantum physics, and just sit there and talk back and forth and learn. I think that's fun. But yeah, you're right. If you take it as like what my kids like to do for their homework, just tell me the answer. Probably not a good
yeah,
idea. You're not really
yeah,
learning much. But if you do engage in a real trying to understand, I think it
yeah,
could be helpful for sure.
yeah. Absolutely.
All right. Our next segment of the show is this is the most important part of the show. This is what everybody tunes in for. This is where the real hard hitting questions. I mean, all of this is just like it's like flyover. What we've done so far, all of the talking about AI and all that's the flyover country of our show, basically. This is what people tune in for. The lightning round. There are correct answers. We're going to rapid fire these to you, and good luck. Really, I mean, I wish you the best, but
Okay.
I don't know. Sometimes you never know.
It's time for the lightning round. Rapid fire, don't slow down. Answer quick and make it count. In this game, there's no way out. It's time for the lightning round.
Okay. If Voldemort offered you a hug, would you accept it?
No.
Okay. Sourdough or wheat?
Wheat.
Mm-hmm. Do you like the word dapper?
No.
Okay. What's your favorite type of muffin?
Ooh, banana nut.
Good choice. Good choice. Oh, this would be an interesting one. You're kind of from my generation, so I think I might know the answer to this. Have you ever tasted soap?
Yes.
Yeah, anybody that's around has probably got themselves in trouble and had to have their mouth washed out with soap. Right? Do you have any friends taller than 6'4"?
Uh, no. I'm actually probably I'm 6'3" myself, so I
Very close.
usually there's a few that are at my height. I don't think anyone's taller than me that I would consider a friend at least.
Gotcha. Yeah, one of my coworkers he's pretty tall. You've met Jake. He's
Yeah. Yeah,
he's like
he's tall.
6'7", 6'8" or something.
Yeah.
So I guess I've got one. So, what's your favorite clothing brand?
Ooh. Well, with the advent of athleisure post
I call
post
that workwear.
yeah post COVID era, I sport a lot of Adidas, as they say
Adidas.
in the
Yes.
motherland.
Yes.
Half German, so I just have to say it the correct way.
Adidas. one of our folks at work, they have the since COVID, everybody sits at home with sweatpants on. Like the when you say you've done something important that day, like, oh, I actually had to put hard pants on for this, like, or pants with buttons. That's your justification, or I actually did something of importance that day. Hard pants.
Yeah, we are in the office 3 days a week, but
So you do have to put on hard pants.
I do have to put on pants, but yeah, we're casual. We're not a stodgy insurance company, but
Right.
Yeah.
If Tupac appeared before you right now, what's the first thing you would ask him?
Who shot you?
That seems like the obvious answer there for that one. I feel like that's kind of a silly question.
Yeah.
Some people, if you don't know who Tupac is, they may say, "Who are you?" So I get that, but I mean, you got to know who shot you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and this is really, I think this is a question that really digs into the heart of a person. You really get to know them and who they are and what they're all about. What temperature do you like your thermostat at?
Summer or winter, it doesn't matter.
We'll go summer since that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, summer, probably between 70 and 72.
Mm-hmm.
Winter, 68.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't like it too warm.
Okay. Yeah. Our house it's got just awful airflow. So if I set it on the main, the only temperature sensor is on the main floor. If I set it at 72 here, it's like 78 upstairs in some of the rooms. So you have to like set it really low, and I'm freezing on this floor, and everybody's comfortable upstairs. So yeah. Okay. Well, that does it for our lightning round. You did fairly well. I mean, I don't say that to everyone. I do say it to everyone, but I mean it this time. You really did. You did really well. I really like the answer, the Voldemort answer. That was right on point.
Did anyone say yes to that?
I can't imagine they would. And if they did, we probably would cut it out. You know what I mean? Like
they should be on a list somewhere.
Yeah, we're not that kind of show. We don't put up with that here. We would not have aired that if they did. So we may not even have aired the entire episode if they said that. So, all right. Let's see. Anything going on? Like any sort of shout outs or anything coming up for your company that's interesting that maybe for us to keep an eye out for?
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff, some which I can't talk about yet because it's not public yet. I will say we've got a big product launch coming out. It's a new type of annuity called a RILA. That will be launching later this year. If you're not in the insurance industry, you're like, what the heck is that? But there's a lot of effort there. As a company, we're pretty excited about that. Yeah, we've got a lot of things going, but some of it is not public yet. But check out definitely check out the white paper I mentioned. We're pretty excited about that. But yeah, we're continuing to grow, as I mentioned. So we've got a lot of growth going on. There's two sides of our business. We have the retail where we're selling annuities, and then we have the reinsurance, which is also an area we're very bullish on with AI. But that's pretty exciting part of our business. It's very data driven, very data driven. And we just signed a deal with a Japanese insurance company. So that's a big deal for us that we're doing a lot of more international business. But yeah, just a lot of really cool goings on in the tech side of the world. We have something really cool that will be coming out, very unique experience. I will tease it a little bit. Probably about 30 to 60 days we'll ship it. It'll be something very unique in our industry that, again, will make the whole process of selling annuities a lot easier. And it's really about how we deal with, in the industry, what we call NIGOs, which is not in good order. So it's a unique experience on how to resolve NIGOs. But
Nice.
I'm pretty excited about it.
And what's the best way to like kind of keep up on the goings on at Aspida? Is that like follow on LinkedIn? Is that a good way? Are you guys pretty active
LinkedIn.
there?
Yeah, LinkedIn's a great way to do that. Oh, I forgot to mention something we just launched. Oh man, I just missed an opportunity, James.
Oh, go for it.
We recently launched an Apple Wallet. So we are first in the industry to offer the experience of a customer adding their annuity contracts to their Apple Wallet. So it's a really good way to just, number one, keep track of your annuity contracts, but second, it's easy way for you to track the value changes of those contracts over time without having to log into a portal, which some people don't like. But again, we were first in the industry to do that. For some people, you're like, well, duh, I've been using Apple Wallet for like a decade. This isn't new and exciting. I know this, right? But in the insurance industry, this is considered revolutionary, but we are proud of it.
That's cool.
This is kind of, again, where we're really trying to pull this industry into the 21st century, right?
Yeah.
We are a 21st century enterprise and sometimes what feels like a 20th century industry. And it's just an example, again, of how we're really setting the pace for the industry. So we're really excited about that. We've gotten really good press on it and pretty good adoption from our customers. So we'll have Google Wallet for those Google users. I know y'all are out there. We nothing but love. I love all of you. But Google Wallet will be a fast follow here pretty soon. But yeah, follow on LinkedIn or aspida.com. Our comms team is great. They do a good job of sharing all the goodness we have going on, and yeah, we'd love you as a customer as well. But yeah, a lot of exciting things coming.
That's cool though. I love the bringing them into the 21st century. I worked for, I don't know if I was a full-timer or a contractor at the time, but I had I made up a slogan, and I'm not going to name the company, but the gist of it was company name, making the technology of yesterday the technology of today. Soon. And I had that soon on the end because we were always, someday we'll get around to like catching up with, that was one of my favorite ones. But that's probably how you feel with, your industry.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, again, thank you so much for joining us here on the /. Really enjoyed the conversation. This is going to be a great episode, and appreciate you being on.
Same. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. See you next time. The / podcast is created by Calibrity. Our director is Dylan Courts, producer Ryan Wilson, with editing by Steve Baradelli. Marketing support comes from Taylor Blessing. I'm your host, James Carman. Thanks for listening.